Well, hello there. Today we're going to look at the patch preview for 26.4 just to give us an idea of what to expect the top lane potential changes that might affect Yorick, our matchups against other champions, and maybe some things that we can take advantage of to optimize or change our builds. When is the so this is a patch preview. That means some of these things might not be final yet, but it's a good idea to understand the thought process behind it. At least giving us helping us find some perspective. When is it due? It's estimated to land February 19th, which is a Thursday. So awesome. So this has been kind of confirmed by someone from Riot. So at least we have a high degree of confidence that these are as accurate as they can be when it comes to a preview. Okay. Is that large enough for you to see? Let me see. Okay, that looks better. Buffs. Haven't seen Annie in a while. She isn't. She doesn't appear in top lane, so not too concerned right now. Brand jungle. That's good because often top lane is in the early game. It's really about the jungler and the top laner. So Brand jungle's getting buffed. Greater damage. In terms of the burn. Okay, cool. Camille, top laner. Now, in the past, it seems like Camille's E, the hook, I think, I could be wrong. She gains the attack speed if it hits you. Now it doesn't have to hit an enemy champion. Once she hits the wall, the attack speed is granted. We'll see how that look. We'll see what happens to our fights with Camille there. Of course, what you could do when fighting Camille is as soon as the second hook tries to land on you, you could wall up and she would bounce in. She would hit the wall instead of you. But the attack speed is guaranteed now, so she will have a bit more trading power. Darius jungle, given more, just like with Brand getting more burn tick damage in the jungle, Darius is getting bleed damage higher for the jungle. That's something to keep in mind because Darius is often a top laner. So if he is in the jungle, he will have much more sustain, a lot more mana, and if he goes the blue the blue smite, I'm not sure what it's called, but the blue orb or the blue smite gives junglers more movement speed when they pass through brushes. And top lane, there are a lot of brushes in top lane. So we'll have to keep an eye out for this one. Darius jungle with a lot of move speed will just be able to kind of continue procking the hemorrhage stacks. Fizz jungle. So it looks like a lot of junglers are getting buffed. Graves. So he deals more damage and increased magic resist. Okay. Hui, haven't really seen Hui in top lane. Ilaoi is getting a buff. It's always challenging to fight Ilaoi as when she ults and then if you aren't able to avoid the number of tentacles, it could be 4 tentacles slamming onto you because her passive allows for a lot of healing. She'll just regen a lot of the damage you do. So I'm already struggling against her. I don't have a lot of experience when fighting Ilaoi lanes, but I try to still use my poke and space method to make sure that at least if she does get a chance to E into me and then ult, she's a little low. And my preferred method here is Executioner's Culling plus Faded Ashes into just to reduce her healing but also deal damage over time. She has a base damage increase, so we'll have to see in terms of trading how much we can trade against her. We'll have to be extra careful. Lux, not really. Maokai, haven't seen him in top lane in a while. Bonus monster, okay, more of a jungle buff. Samira, this is a concern because I already like building Executioner's Culling just because of the top laners. But her Q now has an increase is now 100% lifesteal ratio. So we have more incentives to build culling early on. So both the ult and the Q are getting more lifesteal. Okay. Teemo jungle. Teemo's notorious for top lane, but if he is played in the jungle, more damage to jungle monsters. Udyr on hit damage increase, and then shield increase. Okay. And then if you play the Blue Smite Udyr, you will have a lot of movement speed too. Shaya, not so much. Nerfs. Ambessa for jungle. Okay. Bonus monster damage reduced. Okay. This might keep Ambessa top lane rather than being used in jungle. Okay. Aphelios is getting a base AD nerf. Gwen. Okay, Gwen. Gwen has floated to one of the better ones. Okay, Dusk and Dawn. That's fair. Base damage per snip reduced. Okay, that helps us when it comes to trading. And ult, maximum base damage lowered from... Okay. Okay, that is a sizable... At late game, that's 200 and something damage reduced. And at early game... Gotcha. So there is... It is much easier to lane against her and trade. So that's good. We'll observe. So right now concerns are the Darius junglers coming into top lane and Teemo, and then Illaoi with an increased damage. Gwen gets nerfed. Camille with an increase in attack speed. All of those things are worth keeping in mind. Jinx gets lower armor. I'm sure lethality Yoricks are having a field day with this one. When you land E and there's less armor, that means the lethality will just reduce the amount of armor you currently have, and the less armor you do, the the more the ghouls hurt. Kassadin gets a nerf. I haven't seen Kassadin top lane. Kayle, okay, mostly in top lane. Base damage reduced. Let's see. Okay, reduced late game, not early game. At level 2, it's already somewhat reduced. Okay. Kennen, cooldown is increased. Okay, awesome. Helps us trade against Kennen. One of the things when fighting against Kennen, we're always concerned about ult, because ult plus a combination of lightning stacks, I think, it'll stun us, and then that means we'll stay longer inside the maelstrom, which means more damage onto us. So at least the cooldown remains 2 minutes. Naafiri, regen reduced. HP regen per level reduced. I think the intention of these nerfs is to move Naafiri away from top lane and move that champion back to mid lane, where even if you don't have a lot of base HP regen, but you have... Naafiri to me is more of a lethality user or an assassin, so that helps. Rengar, quite a bit of... I haven't seen Rengar top. Rumble, HP reduced. Equalizer, tick damage reduced. Okay, at early levels, but late game it's still the same. Then there's an adjustment on the third level. Okay, so very early, but we'll see how that impacts us when it comes to team fighting. Rumble with ult is very dangerous. Swain for bot lane. Slow reduced. Okay, awesome. Swain seems to have taken over the league. Top lane Swain, mid Swain, jungle Swain, ADC Swain, support Swain. Seems to be everywhere. I think the main challenge is he heals so much, deals decent amount of damage, but... Sorry, let me rephrase that. He deals a decent amount of damage depending on what lane he's in, but he also has the ability to sustain himself. And the challenge with ADCs is that they deal a ton of damage, but they don't have a lot of sustain built in. And Swain at top lane, who has a lot more access to experience and gold just by himself, dangerous. So there is a bit of nerfs on the ult. AP reduced, slow reduction. Okay, so moving slow from 75% to 50. So like from over here, okay, gives us more opportunities to dodge some of his abilities, and when they do land, at least it will have will have will have more of a chance to disengage. Syndra, one of the counters to mid Yorick, just because Syndra can use her ult. Sorry, I think it's E. When she picks up a minion, she can pick up Maiden. Okay, W damage is reduced. Base damage for spear is reduced. Zac. I've seen Zac top lane, but mostly play jungle these days. Damage adjusted. Maximum HP, not bonus HP. Oh. Okay, I think that's a buff. AP ratios are not changed, but moves to maximum HP. That's bigger, I think, because you have a bigger maximum HP pool than you have bonus HP. I think so. Then ult, damage per bounce reduced. Okay. Rise, currently played in mid, but often makes an appearance in top lane. Okay. Oh, this is good. I've seen this. If you've seen one of the recent games in LEC, where Rise, for some reason, Rise wasn't teleported. I think it was a Los Ratones game, and just being inside the circle and then you being teleported because you're Rise, I think really helps. Not much else. I think that's all. So let's bring it in. In summary, here are a few key things that we have to keep in mind. Darius jungle might be more of a thing. Brand's gonna get more damage. Ilawi's gonna get a bit more damage. Camille's hook shot, her E, doesn't need to land on you for attack speed. It's already guaranteed when she uses it. And then Maokai might appear more in jungle. So that means Maokai has some sustain, and then his root is a point and click ability. Udyr's base damage is increased. Ambessa might appear more in top lane and not in jungle because of the jungle nerf. Gwen has been nerfed slightly. So quite a bit of things to think about when it comes to top lane and just overall game sense, because I reiterate this because it's important. As a top laner, really, it's a 1v2. You are not only fighting your fellow laner, but you're also fighting the jungler, depending on how much they gank. And with top lane, there's so much space to run and walk that if the lane is frozen on your opponent's side, that means the jungler has so much space to run you down. And that's not a good thing, especially when you're fighting against a blue smite Darius with a lot of movement speed, with a lot of access to movement speed, and he can just auto you to death with his hemorrhage stacks. Not a fun time. So interesting preview. Let's keep an eye out for any other potential changes, because these are still subject to change. We still have about a full week's worth of playtime before patch 26.4 comes live. So that's it for now. Have fun, and then GG.